Good afternoon. This is Stephen from Stephen's Archery Journey. I'm here to review the Yuwen Ming Emperor bow. This was actually my very first Asiatic bow. Funny story as to how I ended up with this. I was looking for my first Asiatic bow in the area, which living in the United States is very difficult without ordering something and having it delivered. And I actually found someone that was clearing their stock of these, and I reached out, but they had actually already sold them all. But within about 30 minutes, I was getting a message from Mark Tom himself, the Chinese bowyer who makes these. Told him what I was looking for. He had this available in 32 pounds at 28 inches, and went for it. So it's right around 58 inches nock to nock. Beautiful Ming tips with horn inlay. This is the quote-unquote basic version. It doesn't have carbon. Still beautiful laminated work though. Nice leather grip. Nice purple stingray arrow pass that matches the purple in the handle. So it's a pretty bow. Well constructed, doesn't wiggle a lot. Haven't taken utmost care of it, living in the swamp in the southeast United States, and it being my very first bow, so I was a little hard on it, but it's held up fine. String length 51 inches gives you about 32 inches of max draw, which my draw length is between 31 and 32, so that was fine for me. Again, 32 pounds at 28 inches maxes out around 38 pounds at full draw. Very smooth shooter. No complaints whatsoever. So next I'll take actual measurements of the draw weight as well as the weight of the bow here. Let's start by getting the weight just from having used a few other bows. I know this is pretty light, but we'll actually measure it. So around 430 grams. Pretty light. I mean, there are lighter, but for a 32-inch bow, that's pretty good. Next, I'll measure the actual draw weight of the bow instead of just assume. It's a good practice in general, just because sometimes the bow can lose draw weight over time, or maybe it's not labeled if you pick up a secondhand bow. So here at 28, we're just over 30, so that's pretty close to the marked 32. Probably could have pulled that back just a hair more. Let's get it all the way to 32 and see where we're at. Right around 38. Next, we'll try to get a speed reading for the bow. I'm going to start with these lightweight 320 grain arrows. Should be around 8.5 grains per pound. These are actually the arrows that I bought for the bow. Knowing nothing about arrows, 177. I didn't do too bad. Obviously, I could have done better, but you kind of work with what you have available, which for me was Amazon. 178. Next, we'll try some 450 grain arrows. These should be around 10.5. 158. 159. And just for the heck of it, we'll throw some 500 grain arrows in the mix, although these will definitely be too heavy for pure speed. 149. $152. So let's take a few actual shots with the bow. Typically, I either use just a cloth sash, or I have a quiver that I got from Ollie Craft, the Tasca quiver, but it's about 98 degrees and hot and humid right now. So I'm just being lazy and keeping the arrows in a ground quiver. These are 450 grain arrows, actually a little heavy for the bow. They still shoot okay. In fact, they reduce the hand shock ever slightly that you would get if you were going down toward 8 grain per pound. Unless the bow really warrants a heavy grain per pound, I like to go around 10 myself. It's just a nice middle ground between speed and stability. Little off on that one. Let's throw out one of these really heavy arrows. A little slow there, but shootable. Next, I'll grab a few shots from 30 meters. For about the first year that I shot, I never shot past about 10 to 15 meters, maybe 20 at the most. And then when I built the range out here in the fall, I actually had enough room to do it. Total miss there, but I've been shooting heavier weight bows now, and this is actually a little light and takes just a little more effort to get to the target. There we go. Still a smooth shooter. Still really enjoy shooting this bow, even though I'm shooting heavier bows and sometimes even longer bows these days. I have had a few people ask me why I shoot a traditional bow instead of a compound bow, and there are a few reasons for that. For one, I don't hunt. I only do archery as a meditative practice and a martial art. So, frankly, the idea of using a compound bow just doesn't suit me. The rest of my life is so technology oriented. I just wanted archery to be simple. And then as far as why I went with Asiatic bows and thumb release is I love the aesthetic, and it's just a little bit different. Let you shoot bows with maybe a smaller bow length and a more acute string angle. Absolutely love it. Wouldn't change anything. So the maximum length of my range is around 70 meters. I'm actually going to try to shoot this from 50. I don't think I'd be able to make it to the target from 70, just because of the slightly heavier weight of these arrows and the lower draw weight. But we'll see what happens here at 50. Again, I shoot thumb ring only. I study Gao Ying's Ming military archery via the way of archery. Ironically, when I got this bow, I didn't even know that existed. But it kind of worked out because it's a Ming bow. Almost got it, grazed the target. All right, now I'm shooting at a 19-inch target, which is a little small for this distance. I think I got that one right in. But like anything, you just have to practice the distance. A little high. So even at 50 yards, or rather 50 meters, getting to the target no problem with even a little bit heavier arrow than what the bow calls for. So just to recap, this was the Yuwen Ming Emperor, 32-inch max draw length, laminated bow from Mark Tom in China. Very smooth bow, very pretty to look at. Maxes out around 50 pounds at 28 inches, so if you're looking for something really heavy, this may not be for you, but otherwise you should be good. I believe there are various dealers that deal Yuwen. I know Bamboo Archery does. Also Roth Archery, Ben Roth here in the United States. So if you're interested in one, I would check out what they have to offer. But yes, very happy for this as a first bow. Very beautiful. Even though I beat it up a little bit. And I live in the southeast United States where I'm basically a swamp half the year, and despite that, it's still held up well. Very fun to shoot. That's all I've got for today, guys. Happy shooting.